Well, good morning, y'all. It's been a really long time since I've shared a message with any of you. It's the crack of dawn. I'm sitting here at work and praying and talking to the Lord, the Holy Spirit, to give me something important. Last couple of days, I've been looking at the book of Nehemiah, thinking about all of this stuff that's been happening with Charlie Kirk. I've been thinking about, all of the stuff people have been saying. We are Charlie. We are Charlie. Are you really? Let me break that down for you. I'm really excited about the story of Nehemiah and how there's so many comparisons to Charlie Kirk's life and Nehemiah's life in the Bible. And I share these messages in hopes that you will learn, grow, and that I can inspire and motivate for you to truly act and be like Charlie Kirk was. This platform is my ability to be like Charlie, to tell the world the truth and try to stop the indoctrination of our young people. I'm trying to be slow and deliberate with my words and intentional because, if it's just me, blah, 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 it's not going to affect you. It's not going to bring change into your heart, into your life. And I'm trying to search my heart and for the right words, because I want the words that I speak to pierce your heart, to inspire you and to motivate you to go out into all the world, And I'm looking at Nehemiah, which was a book of the Old Testament. I'm looking at Charlie Kirk, and I just feel in my spirit like Nehemiah was a lot like Charlie Kirk, and I'll get to that in a minute. I think the main purpose of the video is I have a question. I have a question I want to pose to you, and I really hope first of all, I want to say thank you to all of the subscribers. My YouTube channel is blown up overnight. That's all God, nothing to do with me. But I want you to. I'm going to give you a thought, and I want you to use that thought as I share this message in hopes that it's going to help you understand where I'm going. I'm trying to give you a little bit of backdrop. For those of you who are parents out there, if someone were to hand your child a lollipop coated with poison, and that child's going to suffer because of that poison, what are you going to do as a parent? Exactly. You're going to grab that lollipop and throw it away. You don't want your child to right? It's common sense, right? So the point of that is this. There's a very large group of people in this country and around the world that are trying to feed our children, try to feed our young people poison. And they do that because the youth are extremely impressionable. They're still moldable. They're not adults like us who've been through it, who've been through the ringer, who've learned, who've grown, who've been able to survive and that kind of stuff. And Charlie Kirk was grabbing the lollipop. Let me see if we can break this down for you. There is a very, very large group of people in this country, around the world, that are under the sway of the evil one, the evil forces. That's why they say this Charlie thing was good versus evil, and it is, and it's proven all throughout these past couple of years and all the way back through history. And Charlie got in the way of that. Charlie was coming in and saying, no, you can't give them that poison. I don't want them to have that. This is what they need to have so that they can grow up to be strong, to be centered, to live a life of meaning, to live a life of faith, to be productive. And they need to know. They can't just get fed the one side. They can't just be given the poison. They need to be given the truth, and then they have the right to make their own decisions. And that was the beautiful part about Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk's life. Now let's get to Nehemiah. Nehemiah, I'm not going to give you the whole book. It's an amazing book. I want you to read the book. It's important you read the book. There's so many lessons to learn from Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a cupbearer, okay? Nehemiah was a cupbearer. He was the lowest of the low in the king's court, okay? Charlie Kirk, young man, 18 years old. God put a vision and a purpose and a mission on Charlie Kirk's life at a very young age. Nehemiah, same thing. God gave him a vision. God gave him a calling. That's what Charlie, you see all these things in the funeral and stuff. They said that Charlie had a calling on his life, and you could see by his successfulness that yes, he was fulfilling the call for his life, and we know that because of the fruit, because of the success, because of all of the amazing things he did, the ability he had to make young people feel like they were worthy, they were worth something. He was empowering young people. He was giving them a voice. He was educating them. He was leading them, and that's why the darkness silenced him. That's why the darkness took him out, because he was so effective and so successful in his mission for God. That's no doubt. So King Nehemiah, the same thing. King Nehemiah saw that his people were being oppressed. The city of Jerusalem had gotten captured by the Roman Empire. There was, enslavement, oppression, murder, torture. The Romans were just downright awful to the Jewish children, the Israelite people. They tore the wall down. So Nehemiah, in the king's court, heard the stories of his brothers and sisters going back and forth. Let's say the delivery drivers and stuff like that. He's in the king's court. He overhears them talking about all the atrocities that are happening to his people. So God birthed a vision, like Charlie Kirk had a vision, had a plan, had a mission. That's what happened to Nehemiah. He got a mission. He got a purpose, and he didn't argue with God. He didn't like Charlie. Charlie just accepted what the Lord put in his heart, and Charlie went to work. And and Nehemiah, the cupbearer, just went to work. And Charlie had no money. Went to seek money, seek provision. Right? You need provision. The mission. He needed provision for his mission, and he's an 18-year-old kid, and he's going into the world asking for money to provide. He's sharing his vision with people, and he's trying to find provision. Charlie was very successful because God was in it. Nehemiah was very successful. I don't want to get too off track. I don't want to give you too much of a history lesson. What I hope to do is to help you live up to what you're saying. Everybody's running around saying, "We are Charlie, we are Charlie." Are you really? I really want you to think about that. That's a very, very, very strong, that's a very, very bold statement. And if you're going to put that on your Facebook or on your Instagram, or if you're going to put it above your profile pic, that's wonderful. But are you truly going to be like Charlie? We have to really try to break down and think about all of the difficulties that Charlie faced. But Charlie did something about it. In spite of all of the difficulties, he did something. He did something about it. He realized that our young people were being poisoned by this crazy evil ideology, and Charlie stood his ground and stood up like Nehemiah, the cupbearer. He saw that his people were being oppressed, and Nehemiah went to the king and he got provisions, and it's, if God has put something on your heart to do, you need to do it. You need to get motivated. You need to get out there and go to work. There are so few, if I don't know of any, that any like Charlie Kirk, and I really believe that, his name truly will be in history books, because he had the courage, he had the faith, and he had the tenacity, the trust to actually go out and do what he said he was going to do, and be great success at it. And King Nehemiah, the same thing. And all throughout, it's important to mention too that all throughout Charlie's life, he met resistance. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we don't hear. All throughout Charlie's life, I'm sure there was people who were trying to, downplay it, trying to down talk him, try to distract him, try to get him off the track, try to get him distracted. And I know the evil one was doing the same thing. There's no doubt about it, And if you look at his short life and the impact he had in such a short time, there's no denying the fact that God was with him. There was no denying the fact that he had a heart of courage and faith, and that he was determined. He was determined to re-educate and redirect the young people in this country. And now we have a void. We have millions and millions and millions of people all around the world saying, "We are Charlie." Are you? All I can say is I really hope so. And that's all I can really say is I really hope so. I really hope so that this is not to discourage you, and this is not to make you feel guilty or bad or shameful, but I really, really hope so that someone more than someone. I'm really hoping that all of us can take Charlie Kirk's example, and let's put a brakes. Let's put a brakes to them trying to feed our young people poison, because that's what this is all about. They're being poisoned. There's this wicked, twisted ideology that's been fed to them, and they're being indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated. They're still indoctrinating our children, and there's not a single person other than Charlie Kirk that I know of that's making a stand in this nation. This nation especially. It's all around the world, but this nation especially, because we live in this nation. I don't see anyone actually going out there other than Charlie Kirk, because he's the only one. If there's somebody I'm missing, please let me know. But to have the impact that Charlie Kirk was having, I don't know of any. I don't know of any, because you would know of them, because it would be brought to your attention. Because once you start messing around with the kingdom of darkness, all the hounds in hell are coming after you. And that's exactly what this is. And if he can, if the enemy of our souls, the enemy of human beings can indoctrinate the youth, then he can change a generation. And if he can change a generation, then he can actually change this world and destroy it completely. And that's his plan. That's been his plan since God created us. So are you truly a Charlie Kirk, or do you just have the banner over your name? And back to Nehemiah. Nehemiah, the same thing. If you please read that book, it's so important to read that book. There was people just coming after him, ridiculing, mocking him, trying to destroy, trying to distract him, trying to created all kinds of lies about him. They attempted to assassinate him. There's so many things that are similar to Charlie Kirk's life in Nehemiah, in the book of Nehemiah. And you got to look at the faith in Nehemiah, and you got to look at the faith of Charlie Kirk. No matter what came up against them, they kept focused on what God wanted to do in their lives and through their lives, and they realized that the mission, the vision that God gave them was more important even of life itself. That's right. It was more important than their loved ones, their family, and that was the most important thing. They lived for that. They pushed themselves for that. They drove themselves to do it and to complete the mission. Unfortunately, it's my hope. Everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody's saying, "Oh, I feel pull. I feel the tug of the Lord," and that's awesome. That's great. God is calling you. If you feel that in your spirit, God is calling you to pick up the torch where Charlie left off, in any capacity that you can. But we need to stop the indoctrination. We need to stop them from feeding our children, our young people, poison. What they say, teen suicide rate is off the charts, is through the roof. Teen overdose is through the roof. Why do you think all of this is? If the enemy of the enemy of our souls can destroy our younger generation, the generation coming up behind us, that he's got us. He's got us. So are you truly going to be like Charlie or King Nehemiah? You remember, these two came from, they didn't have anything. They weren't super educated with doctorates and master degrees and all that. No, they saw a problem. They saw something wrong. They saw that the people were being oppressed. They saw that the people were being enslaved and held down, and they realized in their hearts and spirits that this was wrong and that this needed to be changed. That needed direction. So if you've got the banner over your Facebook profile picture, if you're putting it on your timeline, I really hope and pray that out of all the millions of people around the world who are saying it, we can at least find one. We can at least find one that was exactly like Charlie Kirk, because I'll tell you what, that man was turning the tide in this country. He was shifting. He was turning. He was saving future generations. Even though this upcoming generation has just been completely poisoned, indoctrinated with all of kinds. And that's the problem too. They call it radical, because that's what it is. It's so radical. It's like the people in the Bible with King Nehemiah and Charlie Kirk, that they were so determined to destroy and so determined to tear down everything and stop everything God wanted to do, that they were powerful. But because of Charlie Kirk, the one man, or because of Nehemiah, the one man, They refused. They refused to take their eyes off of God. They refused to get distracted from the mission. They pressed on, pressed forward, and they did great things. So I really hope and pray today that it starts with you. It starts with you where you're standing, where you're at right now. It starts with you. And what can you do today? Today's a brand new day. The sun's coming up, as you can see. It starts with you. If you are a person of faith, even if you aren't a person of faith, if you feel something in your heart right now, you feel that, that's God. That's God tugging on your heart. That's God saying, hey, I need you. I need you, my child. I need you, my child. An army can't win the battle alone, right? One soldier can't. Well, one soldier can make an impact, but imagine if we can pull all the soldiers together and we all fought at the same time, how much we could change this world and continue to carry the legacy. We need somebody to step up to the plate here. We really do. And it's all kumbaya and wonderful and fine and dandy. Everybody's writing that on their timelines, but are you truly going to be that way today? Are you going to go to the school boards and say that this shouldn't be taught to my children? Are we all going to start making a stand in this country saying that this is wrong and this is wrong and that's wrong? Are we going to get back to our Christian values, back to our Christian roots? Remember how amazing this country was? Remember how awesome it was to go out in the world and how peaceful it was and how loving everybody was and how caring everybody was? You go out in the world today, man, it's like going into a third world country and you're on guard. You're on guard constantly. You can't be at peace, because you're worried about somebody hurting you or your family. And it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't like that way back in the 70s and the 80s. It wasn't like that at all in any way. And that's what's happened. That's what's happened. And now we got this radical regime coming up behind us. It just completely, their minds have been poisoned. They've been indoctrinated. They're full of hate. They're full of violence. They're full of lies. They've been fed the poison for so long now. Now we're going to have to deal with them. And now we got the future generation, my son, coming up. What are you going to do? How are you going to teach him? Or how are you going to teach him the truth? Or you're going to compromise? You're not going to teach him the truth. You're going to compromise and have him accept the poison apple, right? Or the poison taffy, right? They're trying to feed my son the poison taffy, and every time they do, I slap it. I slap it out of their hands, and as soon as he comes home with a head full of lies, I get rid of that garbage. I get rid of that garbage, and I tell him the truth, and I tell him what he needs to know. And I'm trying to raise him to be a patriot. I'm trying to raise him to love Christ. I'm trying to raise him to love this country. I'm trying to raise him the way God wants us to raise our kids. We need to put our foot down. We need to truly pick up the torch and be like Charlie or be like King Nehemiah and stand in the gap, stand up against evil and fight it. Fight it. Like Trump said, right? Fight. Isn't that what he said? And that's what they mean. That's exactly what they mean. It's not about being, tyrants or to be evil rulers or kings. It has nothing to do with that at all in any way. It has to us getting back to our basic Christian principles, us getting back to the way things were. We need to bring America back, and that's the only way we're going to do it. We're going to bring America back, and that's what it's all about. It's not about, trying to take over the world. There's nothing to do with that. It has to do with bringing America back so that we can bring back love, we can bring back justice, we can bring back liberty, we can bring back peace, we can bring back all of those great things that we grew up in as this older generation, the Gen X, right? Gen Xers want to bring that back. So it's up to us, but it's also up to us to teach our children to take up the torch of liberty. Because if we don't, the torch of liberty is going to be extinguished by all this evil and indoctrination, because they're working on it. They're working really hard on it. So today, be like King Nehemiah, and truly, if you're going to say you're going to be like Charlie, let's start acting like it. Get out into the field and do whatever you can to change, to affect change. Start standing up for truth. Start standing up for our principles. Start being fearless like Charlie. Start being fearless. When somebody says to you something that's wrong, that something is somebody, they're trying to teach your children something wrong, stop them. Stop them. If you know it's wrong, don't sit back. Because if you sit back, then guess what? As this world slowly crumbles, it's going to be all your fault. That's right. Hope and pray that I motivated somebody today. I lit a fire in somebody today. I thank you. I thank God for you, and I thank God for this platform, and I thank God that I get the ability to go out and speak. And I'm going to try to be like Charlie today. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. You'll be encouraged today. God bless.